Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Wilhelm Scream, and welcome back to another day in Destiny 2 for some more Destiny 2 news and Lightfall Season of the Wish intel. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the dungeon for this season, the Warlord's Ruin, and the best and easiest ways, all the glitches and cheeses that you need to know in order to either get a solo run done or a flawless run, or even the coveted solo flawless run. Now, some of these glitches are just going to be discussed, as I actually haven't had a chance to go and record them fully yet, use them to my benefit, and try to attempt a flawless run. But I do know what all of them are, and I will discuss them as we go through each segment of the new dungeon. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on the bell to post notifications so you never miss out on any future Destiny 2 Lightfall content like this. You can also follow me on Instagram or Twitter. They'll be linked in the description box down below. Remember, any of those things also enter you into any future giveaways on this YouTube channel, and we do one every 1,000 subscribers, so you never want to miss out. And of course, when we reach 100,000 subscribers, we will be giving away an Xbox Series X. You can also stick around until the end of the video for the secret hashtag you can leave in the comments section for another entry into the next giveaway for this video. And remember, I do that hashtag on all videos, so if you haven't done this on a previous piece of content on this channel, you can always go back, check out another video, and of course, do it again. The first major glitch we're going to be talking about is for the very first boss, and I'm going to take you through all three bosses, but this one probably has one of the most unique glitches, if not the easiest to perform. And though this is one of those things that will immediately get you an instant farm and instant loot, even if you're doing this at the master difficulty, and we'll probably talk about that in a later video, it is not something I would necessarily recommend for an actual solo flawless run, simply because the timing of it is a little bit hard to actually measure. There's always a few X factors and a bit of luck going into it, but essentially you can use the same old finisher yeet glitch that has been around for a long time. If you don't know anything about this, simply get one of the other enemies in the vicinity of the boss down to a level where you can actually use a finisher on them, and then essentially have the boss between you and that enemy. And if you get the right timing, you will actually just knock the boss completely off the ledge. This will get you an instant completion on this encounter, and if you are a solo player and you're just looking to farm out Artifice armor, this is possibly one of the best farms to do that. Though, still something you could potentially do for a solo flawless run if you get really proficient at it. Maybe not the best thing to try right off the bat if you've never done this before. There's one other glitch for the first encounter, and this one will revolve around anybody using Strand. So, if you're using the Strand grapple, it will allow you to get out of the cages, thus keeping you from having to shoot the blighted light eye things and really prevent you from that possible wipe, because if you're doing this by yourself, that's probably going to be the part of this that's the most annoying, definitely the most difficult. You're getting shot by all the enemies from the ground as well as the blighted eyes. So being able to survive in the cage and sort of take your time to even just dismount the cage in order to really inspect where the enemies are spawning in, as when you land, there's going to be a lot of them. You also want to try, in my opinion, to land right in the totem circles if you can when you're jumping out of the cage. It just saves a lot of time, as well as it kind of prevents all the ads from moving directly to you, it seems like. I don't know if that's my personal experience or a shared one, but I always just found that if I could land directly in the circle, I had at least a few seconds without any ads hitting me or the boss, really. It sort of seemed like they were a little disoriented. So if you can take the time, use the grapple, and prevent yourself from just getting shot to death while in the actual cage, that's going to help a lot of people I know when they're going for a flawless run. The way you do this is simply by just shooting the grapple at the ceiling of the cage, grappling up to it. Even if you don't go very far, that'll prevent you from getting killed by the cage knives or whatever shoots out of the bottom of it that ultimately wipes you. So hopefully that one tip will help solo players get through this, or if you're going for a flawless run, prevent you from that easy death that's always preventable. But I found even with a team, I was doing this 2-man the first time. Big shout out to my buddy Lord Sinister for helping me with this. Even when we got proficient at getting out of the cages, there was still at least one time every single encounter that we would get killed by them just because, you know, we wouldn't see one of the blighted eyes. We actually, in doing this with a group, would shoot at each other's versus our own. It seemed a little bit easier to find all three. You need something with a little bit more range, of course, but that can help. On to the second encounter. There's not really a major cheese or glitch for this one, and in my opinion, this actually is the most difficult encounter in the Warlord's Ruin. The only thing that I would recommend doing is making sure that when you are about to do damage, if you're in a group, to make sure that you're all on the same bonfire at the exact same time and you rotate together. That might be fairly self-evident, but what I was doing with my teammate in this run, and there was only 2 of us, we would deposit 3 of the nodes on the bonfires and save the 4th one. Till last, we would keep 1 blighted eye up so we wouldn't get a respawn in. That also prevented the adds from spawning in a little bit more regularly. There are a few areas in this particular zone where you can stand and not get killed at all, most notably the sides on the left and the right where the adds actually spawn in. There's little tunnels there. Anywhere where you see one of those, you are going to get an add spawn behind you at a certain point, but once you take out the blighted eye closest to it, the adds are actually fairly easy to kill upon spawn, and you get prevented from getting killed by either the boss or by any of the other adds that are spawning out on the backside of the map. So that's just if you're trying to go for a flawless and you have maybe a couple of other teammates or one other teammate that's able to carry you. If you are attempting this solo, I would say that this is probably going to be the toughest area. The final boss is a lot easier because it has actually, in my opinion, the biggest glitch in it. I'm going to look for a few more unkillable zones for this. There might be a way that you can kind of get outside of the map, but because of the function of this encounter, you are going to have to go into harm's way, at least at some point, and the boss does a lot more damage to you, I think, than the final boss does. It also will knock you off the ledge if you're not paying attention. So just maybe keep the option of having 1 blighted eye still up, and you can sort of take out the waves of adds, clear it out as much as you can before you actually have to spawn in the mini bosses for the totems, because you don't want to be fighting too much at once. The bladed eyes actually were the thing that I think killed us the most in this encounter, more than the mini bosses or the adds. There's also a couple of yellow bars that will spawn sporadically all the way in the back where you're standing. You can go underneath this area too, but I found that that wasn't really a great place just because you're not going to have any of the mini bosses spawning near you. And there's a lot of taken adds that will just rush you down at the bottom, as well as a couple of minotaurs or minotaur-esque taken. But overall, hopefully that'll help somebody get through this a little bit easier. Make sure that you have about as much damage as possible. On to the third boss, and what is, in my opinion, probably one of the best farms. That or the first boss are probably 2 of the best farms we've had as far as dungeons go in a long time. Just because this has probably the biggest glitch in it. And it's sort of a very simple one to do. It doesn't require a lot of setup. It doesn't really require any setup. It doesn't really require any knowledge of the game other than knowing how to jump and where the map actually ends. There's some stuff in this that isn't self-evident and isn't obvious, but once you see it, you're going to go, wow, I can't believe they actually made the dungeon like this. And that is because if you've played this at all, you're going to notice that this particular boss is very slow. Like, everything happens very slowly here. There's no time frame, there's no death mechanic, so you can really just wait out the adds as much as you want. You can do the same thing as we did with the last boss, where you can keep a blighted eye up, get ammo back, farm out the adds that spawn in. The only really tricky mechanic is making sure that you have the melee on the yellow bar enemies once you've stood in the totem circles. You don't want to get killed by that only white mechanic, but fairly easy to do so long as you just hit them once and avoid them. You'll be fine. Especially if you're doing this solo, you can just hit one and then just run away and you'll be all right. But when you get to the actual boss, now there's the 3 phases where you're going to ascend upwards to the top mantle of this castle, we'll call it, that we're standing on. But once you get to the final zone, and then once you get to the final stand, moreover, you get teleported to the middle tower, the one that's right behind us. You can actually run anywhere else. You can move completely away from the boss and stand anywhere in this arena area for the boss. You can get as far away as you want. I mean, you'll get a turn-back barrier eventually, but in any of the environment that you're seeing in front of us, you'll be able to stand for that final boss phase. So range is really the thing here. You could stand almost anywhere and kill the boss once you get them down to fairly low health. And just the whole damage phase and mechanic of this, it's just sort of a beefy encounter. It's like kill the bladed eyes, kill the mini bosses, make sure you hit the little thing and the little yellow bar enemies, and then just do damage to the boss and just go upwards. So I actually think that this is a great farm all around. And like as you see, if we were standing right here, we could just jump back all the way across to the opposite side of the map where the boss can't hit us and do damage to them. So as far as a farm, it's great, but also I think that's probably the best way in order to do this solo, or if you're going for a flawless run. I mean, it makes it just really, really simple. So hopefully some of this will help you get a solo run or maybe a flawless run done, maybe the coveted solo flawless run. If you do, please let me know in the comments. That'll also count for today's hashtag, or if you've done one before. I'm going to, again, try to do a part 2 of this dungeon, as I think it really is a great dungeon overall, and maybe demonstrate a few more of these things, or hopefully learn a few more tricks, maybe a few areas for that second encounter where it makes it a little bit more unkillable. But just wanted to give a brief overview of some stuff that has been found so far. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on the bell to post notifications for more Destiny 2 Lightfall content like this. If you've watched till this point in the video, you can leave a hashtag Lightfall or hashtag Season of the Wish or hashtag Warlord's Ruin in the comments section down below. And once more, I'm Wilhelm Scream. Thanks so much for watching, and of course, we will see you next time.